And it's Ken Kreitzer for Sons of the American Legion Radio. We're based at Squadron 135 in White Plains, New York. And today we have a chance to talk about one of the special causes that we've been introduced to, and that is the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. They're based in Tampa. They take care of the families and children of fallen Special Operations members. And today we have a chance to talk with their president and CEO, and that is Major General retired Clay Hutmacher. General, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Ken. How about you?
Very good, very good. Always great to talk about this program. We were introduced to it by the New York Yankees. They are a big sponsor of the Steinbrenner family of the program. They always introduce the charity at their Military Appreciation Day that we've attended the last 5 or 6 days. If you would, give our audience a little bit of an overview. We understand you're taking care of 900 children now, nearly 200 of whom are in college that you're helping to support.
Yes, sir. Yep, the Special Ops Warrior Foundation is over 40 years old. We were started in the aftermath of the failed rescue attempt going into Tehran to get those 52 Americans held, where we lost 8 Americans at a desert refueling site that left behind 17 kids. The survivors of that mission made a commitment to provide for the education of those 17 kids. And today our mission continues with, like you stated, over 900 children that we're committed to funding. And we have about just under 200 that are currently in college and many more right behind it. Many people think that the foundation is just a college scholarship organization, but it's really not. We call it a cradle to career approach. So we pay for preschool and then tutoring, unlimited tutoring throughout their education, elementary, middle, and high school. We pay for their expenses at college, computers, printers, all those things, their college visits. And of course, we fully fund their college, no matter where they go, whether they choose to go to a technical school or to a 4-year institution or even an Ivy League. There are no limitations on where they can attend school, and we ensure that they are fully funded. And then recently, we expanded our eligibility to include the children of all Medal of Honor recipients, both living and deceased. And so we're very honored to do that based on the courage and sacrifice they have exhibited on behalf of our nation. And that's our foundation today. And we also provide immediate financial support to severely wounded, injured, or ill Special Operations personnel to offset those unforecast expenses when someone is hospitalized away from home. So that's our program, and we're honored to be able to support those who serve.
Well, it's a tremendous service that you provide to families of fallen members of the Special Operations community. I understand from some of the presentations we've been in that you folks jump in immediately when there is an incident where a Special Operations member is lost to support their family, and that continues. Tell us a little bit about about how that works and how you are able to help a family at a very difficult time.
Yeah, and thanks for asking. And we proactively reach out to the family within 60 days of the death of their loved one, or immediately when we're notified about a wounded, injured, or ill. We reach out to that family, and that starts our relationship. We send them an information packet, ask them basically to fill out the contact information and some information about their children. And that's the last application they ever fill out for our foundation, and that starts the relationship. And I'll give you an example. So we have our youngest child today is Dustin Gabriel Ard. He was born January 4th of this year. His father, Sergeant First Class Dustin Ard with 3rd Special Forces Group, was killed in August of 2019. Our counselors, our education counselors, were telling me the other day that Dustin Gabriel Ard in his class of 2042 for college graduation. And that's the way we view it. It's much more than a check for us. And our counselors start building a relationship and working with those families from the very beginning, like they are with Dustin Ard and his mother. And that relationship continues through college graduation and really beyond. We continue to send them cards even after they're out of college, and many of them, our kids volunteer to come back and mentor our younger kids even after they've graduated college, which is really inspiring to see them do that.
Well, one of the things that they mentioned about your organization is that you never forget a birthday. And what a gracious and thoughtful action that is to send a card to the birthday of the children and the families involved. It's quite an effort that you're doing. Tell us a little bit about some of the recent graduates from college that you have supported. I know at the events at Yankee Stadium, typically one or two is always introduced at those events.
I'll give you one example. She was just on CBS News in an interview. Ebony Sherrill was one of our recent graduates. She graduated with a degree in film studies, and she's currently living up in Washington, D.C. Her father, Major Sherrill, was a doctor with one of the Special Forces group who was killed in the 90s, and she is one of our huge success stories. We have about just under 400 of our kids that have graduated college, and many of them have went on to do great things. For instance, there was Lieutenant Colonel Roland Peixoto, and I actually served with him briefly. He was killed in an aircraft accident in 1992 when he was the commander of the 55th Special Ops Squadron. His daughter, Rebecca, graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in Slavic area studies, and she's continued on and is now pursuing her PhD. So there's two perfect examples of kids that have done well. And if I could just, when I tell you we reach out proactively, and it is much more than a check for us, it really is a relationship. The results of that relationship, and I take no credit for that, I give it to our education counselors, are this year we had 41 kids graduate high school, 38 went directly to college. That's over 90%, which is about over 20% above the national average. Last year, 93% of our kids graduated their with a four-year degree, which is 30% above the national average. And these are kids that have lost a parent and have been through some pretty tough times. So to see them achieve that success is inspirational for us and very satisfying.
And how do you do the counseling? Obviously, you're serving a large number of families. How do you attract counselors to work and with those families, make contact? How do you do that?
Well, actually, we don't have a lot of problems attracting counselors. I think it's just the mission and the personal satisfaction each one of them get from working with our kids, and they stay for years. I mean, we don't have a high turnover rate at all with our educational counselors. And I think it's much like serving in special operations, which of course I did for the majority of my career, and Joe McGuire before me and John Carney before him. We were drawn to this community, the special ops community, for the mission. And it's the same reason I joined this organization. Our education counselors joined this organization. It's about the mission. In fact, one of our counselors now is focused on special needs kids. We have special needs children. We have about 15 children that have special educational needs that require, different types of programs. And we have one counselor who that is her passion, and she loves doing it. And when we were looking for a counselor, she raised her hand and jumped right in. So we are not hurting for folks dedicated to this cause and to helping our kids.
And you have some terrific sponsors. I know the Steinbrenner family, personally, they're very involved with the program. They're always right there. Hal Steinbrenner, Jennifer Steinbrenner, right at the day Yankee Stadium in past years. Tell us about support you have from your sponsors.
We have a wide range of support, and you pointed out the Hal Steinbrenner, the Steinbrenner family clearly started with George Steinbrenner. Hal has continued that support. He's a very humble leader, but very committed to the Special Ops Warrior Foundation. And frankly, the success of our kids would not have been possible without the Steinbrenner family. We have many other sponsors. Mission Barbecue, Bill Krause and his team. They a great restaurant where they play the national anthem at noon every single day in every single restaurant, and you better stand up. He's been a very generous supporter of ours. Right Rug out of Ohio, owned by Michael Goldberg and his family. In fact, I talked to Michael yesterday. Absolutely committed to our foundation and to our kids, and has been for years. And Bell and Palantir, Gentex, just many of the Black Rifle Coffee is one of our huge supporters. In fact, I just did a podcast with them. It was a riot, and they're committed not just to us but to supporting veterans. So we are blessed with a long list of very generous and committed sponsors, which obviously we couldn't do our mission without them. We make a promise to these kids when they come into our program, and that promise extends through college graduation, no matter what age they are. None of that will be possible without our generous sponsors.
No, that's great. I know there's a lot of support within the American Legion and the Sons of the American Legion, our organization, for what you do.
VFW, American Legion, different posts. That is really inspiring. I get a lot of, they'll write a letter with their check, and I write a personal note to all of our sponsors every time we get a donation. So it's very cool for me as a long-time serving soldier to see that commitment from our veterans across the country.
So, and you've got some terrific sponsors. I made a point of putting out our Alejandro Villanueva jersey. I covered him at West Point, and we did an interview out at Steelers camp a couple of years ago. And what a terrific veteran, 3 times deployed, Army football player, made the NFL. Tell us about Alejandro's work with your organization.
Bill Krause actually introduced us from Mission Barbecue, and I got a chance to meet him at their training camp last year at St. Vincent's College outside of Pittsburgh. And, the first thing I would say about Al is, and I mean, this is blinding flash to the obvious, he's giant. I'm 5'11", just shy of 6 foot, and I felt like I should ask him for some money for ice cream. He was so big. I mean, he was huge. But what a gentleman, and just very humble, and a man of principle who believes in what he believes. He supports our military. He's very committed. He didn't hesitate when I asked him if he'd be interested in supporting us with My Cause, My Cleats, which he did last year. His response was, of course. And he's doing it again this year. In fact, they look like, I'm not sure if they're snowshoes or cleats, but they're about this, they're about this long.
Yeah.
We bought an extra set, which are sitting in our conference room. And he volunteered to speak on our behalf, and he's done a couple of interviews. And I don't think he's a big media person, but he did it for us. And he did it because of principle. He is, I don't want to speak for Alejandro, but I believe that if you asked him, that he may very well say that the most special time and impactful time in his life was his time in uniform. And he's never forgotten that. And he serves as a great example to his fellow players and to Americans everywhere. He is a great person.
Yeah, we covered him in the Army Navy game his senior year. I think that was 2009. And I always remember what he said at the end of the press conference. He said, "Football's been fun, but it's time to go lead a platoon." And he said after that, if he hadn't made the NFL, he was planning to go back into the Army and deploy once again. What a great American he is, and a very proud West Point graduate. Now, we're talking with Major General Retired Clay Hutmacher, who is the president and CEO of the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. Now, you had a very senior role as Director of Operations, U.S. Special Operations Command, and you served in Afghanistan. You were involved with Army Aviation. Tell us a little bit about your career, if you would.
Sure. I actually started out as a 17-year-old Marine private. Believe it or not, I did 6.5 years. I was picked up by the Army for warrant officer flight training. So I flew one tour with 101st, applied for officer candidate school, and then because I had already got a few flight hours under my belt, the 160th Special Ops Aviation Regiment agreed to give me a chance to try out, and they picked me up, and I stayed there for many years, and then within the Special Ops community all the way until I was a lieutenant colonel. And I did a couple of tours outside of the Special Ops community. I commanded a battalion 5158 in Germany, and I was the deputy commanding general of 2nd Infantry Division in Korea. But other than that, I spent my entire time in the Special Operations community, and absolutely loved it. Worked with some great professionals, Admiral McCraven, Stan McChrystal, another West Point graduate, Tony Thomas, who's now the chairman of the Special Ops Warrior Foundation board, served alongside Chief Warrant Officer 4 Mike Duran, who was captured in Somalia. So I was blessed to do that. And then when I made my family and we made the decision to retire, I had no idea what I was going to do, frankly, when I retired. And Joe McGuire took a position with the administration up in Washington, D.C., and this job came up open, and I applied for it and was fortunate enough to get selected. And having the opportunity to continue to serve in this capacity, our families, after I've taken off the uniform, has been one of the most rewarding things I've experienced in my life, other than marrying my wife and having three great kids. This is a great reason to wake up every day and go to work.
Absolutely. We've really been impressed with the work of your organization, taking care of over 900 children, members from fallen members of the Special Operations community. If you would, General Hutmacher, why don't you just tell our audience how they could make contributions or support your organizations if they would like?
Absolutely. If you visit specialops.org, that's our website. If you're so inclined to give, we'd be very appreciative of that. And there's a ways to give tab up in the upper right corner of the website. All of our financial documents are on there, all of our bylaws. So if you have any questions about the organization and our mission, everything's right there. In fact, we are rated in the top 1% of military charities by Charity Navigator. We just got our 15th year of the highest rating they give, a 4-star rating in Charity Navigator. And so we also are we are committed to being good stewards of the resources we're provided. If you're able to help, we'd be very grateful for your support. And we understand that 2020 has been a difficult year for everyone, but anything you can do would be much appreciated.
Absolutely, that's great. And maybe just to finish with a final thought, Major General Clay Hutmacher, President and CEO of Special Operations Warrior Foundation. How many years in the Army for you?
28 days shy of 41.
41. And does that include your time in the Marine Corps?
It does. Yep. When I retired, my youngest son was just a couple of months younger than I was when I joined the service, which was, it's common in those retirement ceremonies to say, well, when this person joined the service, gas was a nickel, whatever, they say.
Yeah.
What really drove it home to me, the time I served, was here I am retiring, and my youngest son is just a couple of months from when, younger than when I strapped on my rucksack for the first time. But I will tell you that it's my honor, one, to have served in the military. I wouldn't do anything different from what I did in the military. I loved it. I was able to deploy to Panama during Just Cause, Desert Storm, Iraq, Afghanistan. I mean, the stands over in Bosnia and places like that over the years, just doing the nation's work and being a small part of a bigger team. And now to be able to continue to do this with the Special Ops Warrior Foundation means a lot to me. What I'd close with is one of my very close friends, Cliff Walcott, was killed in Super 6-1 in Somalia, captured in Black Hawk Down. He was in Super 6-1, the first bird that was shot down. And it was a great loss to our family. We have a son who's getting ready to graduate college up in North Carolina, and he is Mitchell Walcott Hutmacher. So it is just like with all those that have served and lost someone, it's much more than a check. It's a commitment for us.
Well, really, on behalf of everyone at the American Legion and our 350,000 members of the Sons of the American Legion, thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for your continued service as President and CEO of the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, a terrific project and charitable organization.
Ken, thanks for the opportunity to talk a little bit about the foundation, and thanks to, again, like you pointed out, to all the members of the American Legion, not only what they do for the Special Ops Warrior Foundation and other benevolent organizations, but their continued patriotism and support for this great country.
Very good. Well, thank you. And hopefully we'll see you at Yankee Stadium Military Appreciation Day next summer. And great to see you. Our guest, Major General Retired Clayton Hutmacher, President and CEO of Special Operations Warrior Foundation. Thank you for joining us. This is Ken Kreitzer for Sons of the American Legion Radio. We're based at Squadron 135, Post 135 in White Plains, New York. Have a great day, everyone.